Hey everybody, welcome to the channel where we talk everything Chicago Bears, Cubs. We also got some Blackhawks and maybe some Bulls in there too. Listen, if you like what you see here today, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments down below. Make sure we can all beat that YouTube algorithm and grow together. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bears fans, welcome in, welcome in, welcome back. I hope you're having a good week. I'm having a good week. It has been a good week, and we have some Chicago Bears news for you. So, I wanted to get this video out as soon as the news dropped. However, I knew that there was going to be a press conference, and I knew that I wanted to get my feelings straight in terms of how this felt compared to other head coach signings in the past. Now, um, I would like to start off by saying that I think that this is truly different than previous Bears head coaches. I will still retain um, my optimism that, our new head coach does well. But I also want to be realistic in the fact that he is going to be a rookie head coach, and the Bears have a track record of not doing good with rookie head coaches. Now, with that, I do think there are some differences, and I do want to pull some points out of uh, Ben Johnson's press conference. Now, I do think that this is a little bit different, and as I had spoken a couple of my videos before, I was talking myself out of Ben Johnson a lot because I wasn't so sure about another rookie head coach just because of what we had been through with Nagy and then Eberflus, and now we have Johnson. And I'm not against Ben Johnson, but I wanted a head coach that could set a culture, set a tone, someone who has been there, done that, and can do it right now. However, after watching the press conference, Ben Johnson changed my mind quite a bit, actually. The first thing that I want to get out of the way is when he came into Halas Hall on Tuesday. The first thing he said is get back to work. Of course, he was more or less in a joking frame of mind there, but he did go to say that this wasn't going to be easy, and it will be a process, but winning will come. I am here to win, and we will win. For me, I want to point out that this brings back a lot of memories of the Joe Madden press conference for the Chicago Cubs and Theo Epstein. I think there's a lot of similarities, to be honest. Um, it's almost word for word what Joe Madden said. Joe Madden said that it was going to be a process. It was going to take time, but we will get there and we will win. And the Cubs did win. I think that when we work our way into Wednesday in the press conference, Ben Johnson really commanded the room very well. He earned proper respect almost instantaneously. I think that instead of just saying what he needed to say for the city of Chicago and their fans, I really think that the difference in Ben Johnson compared to other head coaches that we've had, um, Ben Johnson didn't just say things just to say things. He really stood on what he said, and he really believed in what he said, right? And I really think that that is going to be a very big difference maker when it comes to him and coaches of the past. Now, another thing that I liked right away was he looked right at the players that were right off to his left, being Caleb Williams, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, and one more was there. Can't remember who off the top of my head, but he said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I like that because I think that shows that he's going to push everybody hard. I think that he, again, stands on what he says. He believes in what he says. And he really believes that there needs to be a difference in the culture in Hallis Hall. And I think that he believes that he can help change that. Also credit to Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles because I think it's fair to say that they are starting to change the way that the McCaskies work with the Chicago Bears organization. And what I mean by that is the Chicago Bears have always had a history of going for the safe option. Eberflus, Nagy, Trestman, John Fox. Um, they always went with the safe option. And Ben Johnson is a very not safe option. He's not proven. He's not proven that he could lead in all facets of the game yet. But I do believe that the Chicago Bears will let him build the right staff to make it happen. Because the Bears have now proven to us 3 times that they are going out of their comfort zone to finally get out of the rut that they are in. Again, I reserve a little bit of my optimism to be patient because we have seen this song and dance before where someone new comes in, it's a breath of fresh air, and then it falls flat on its face. So I need time to see the results come to fruition on the field, and even before that, like how he builds out his coaching staff, what they do with the roster in the draft, free agency, what they do with their cap space. And another thing that I think is important is he believes that there are a lot of weapons already on this team. So my question is that, even if, say, you're not going to the playoffs year one, if you wind up, 8-9, 9-8, maybe 10 wins on the season in your first year, could that go to show that having better coaches in place to push players can be a difference maker? Because who's to say that they bring in better coaches and all of a sudden players that weren't performing look better, perform better? Like how much of the Bears' struggles can really be attributed to poor coaching in the past as compared to just outright not having that talent? Because I would like to say that Detroit had a lot of injuries on both sides of the football, and up until the playoffs, they were able to just plug in anybody, and they just made it work, and they made it work well because whether they were able to just hide the incoming players' deficiencies that well, or they were just able to scheme to be able to fit that player in and make it work well. I think that says a lot about Ben Johnson and his adaptability. So that could be a good thing. That could mean that maybe you see players on the offensive line perform at a higher caliber, and maybe that alone, helps the Bears gain a couple wins. I also think that just Ben Johnson on the face of it adds 3 to 4 wins that Eberflus let go this last season, right? So, let me know your thoughts on just that statement alone. Could him bringing in different a different coaching staff really help the players and their development? Do you think that a lack of coaching was a big part of the problem? I mean, I think we all know the answer to that, but that question still has to be put out there. The next thing that I think is very important is that he again stands on it really hard when he says that people are going to be pushed, people are going to be held accountable, and people are going to come in and work every single day, and they're going to earn their spot. I think it goes without saying, Matt Nagy allowed his, or not Matt Nagy, I'm sorry, Matt Eberflus allowed his hits principle to be walked all over, and I just after the press conference, I don't think that Ben Johnson's going to let that fly at all. And um, I also think that you'll see that difference in responsibility and dependability and culture. I think that you're already seeing it, right? I again don't think that he was saying things just to say things to the city of Chicago. He also talked about how the family value was very important to him because he brings his family up, uh, to Wrigley Field for Cubs games every year, and he wanted to stay in this division because he knows how good this division is, and he wants to prove that Chicago is a winning team. Again, I don't think that he would take this job if the Bears didn't assure him that he will get whatever he needs to make that happen. And so again, I think credit to Warren and Poles on getting that shift in ownership to start taking those decisions away from ownership and just letting Warren and Poles make those decisions. I think that Ben Johnson shows a very serious first step in that direction. And I'm very curious to see what kind of coaching staff that he hires because that is going to be step number two, obviously, and then how the roster gets built. I'm very curious to see how things go week one. Doesn't matter who that opponent is. It could be divisional, non-divisional. Doesn't matter who it is. I want to see how prepared the Bears are week one because that has been a very, very disappointing point for the Bears is that week one they're very woefully underprepared. And then I think another key point here is how is Ben Johnson going to use the players that he has? Because we talked about it all year. Cole Kmet not getting used enough after paying him. Roschon Johnson being misused because he only gets used, 3 to 5 downs per game, which I don't know why you would. How another thing that I really liked that he talked about was making different things look similar and making different things look the same. I think that his philosophy when it comes to game planning is outstanding. I mean, he's had the number one offense in Detroit for the last 3 years. Uh, so I think that getting that frame of mind into the offense is going to be a big difference maker. I also think that he could take the same roster that we have today and just make the roster better based on what kind of coaches he brings in to help um, really truly define the proficiencies and the deficiencies of some of these players and really figure out how to scheme for these players because some of our players are really good at run blocking, but some of them cannot pass block and vice versa. I mean, just by scheming your blocking the right way can make a world of a difference, and he can make that difference. I don't think that Matt Nagy or Shane Waldron, I don't think that they could, and uh, and then, you look at what you can add in the draft, what you can add in free agency. I mean, you can make you really realistically, I think that Ben Johnson's right. You can win in the first year. Do you make a Super Bowl push? Probably not. But I mean, you can go to 9-8 or 10-7 in the first year, just by actually having the understanding and the know-how of getting getting the players being used the way that they should be used. I think that there's a lot of players on our roster that just outright was being misused. And that goes on offense and defensive side of the ball. But again, you can obviously bolster that in the draft free agency. You got plenty of cap space. Um, and then, I think that he was blowing smoke up everyone's rear end when he said that this is where he wants to be. He thinks that the Bears are a sleeping giant, and he was more scared of the Bears defense than the rest of the NFC North. Do I think that he may have embellished a little bit? Sure, but do I think he was lying? No. because the Lions held their own very solidly against Green Bay and Minnesota, but uh, Detroit almost lost to the Bears in all of his last four games. They all came down to a touchdown or a field goal. They weren't, spread out games like they were against Green Bay or Minnesota. So I think that this is a start to be heading in the right direction, Bears fans. I really do. I think that the Bears going with the unsafe route shows that they are okay with getting uncomfortable finally. So we will see what the future holds. I'm honestly really excited. I want to see who he brings in for the coaching staff. I want to get an episode up for you guys with my dad and my brother's reactions to this because their opinions are going to be awesome as well. So Bears fans, you give me your opinions down below. Let me know what you guys are feeling about Ben Johnson. What do you think this means for the future of Chicago? And you guys take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And I will catch you guys in the next one.